Hi, today's video is for those people who are either tarot card readers or they are tarot enthusiasts or they are still trying to learn tarot and they are interested in tarot. Then this video might help you. So the topic of this video is that why tarot card spreads are important when you are addressing a particular question or whenever you are reading anybody's tarot. So first, quickly looking into what are tarot card spreads. So tarot card spreads are basically a methodology in which you divide a question into smaller parts and then you take out a card for each of that part all together while you are trying to address the question. Example, how is that person for me? So usually somebody asks like, how is that person for me? What would happen is like, somebody would pull out 2 cards, 3 cards, depending upon however the reader is comfortable with. But a tarot spread would mean that a question like, how is that person for me? You would divide it into your own mind in smaller fragments. Example, how does your querent see that person? How does that person see your querent? Why is this relationship coming into your querent's life? And what is the outcome of the relationship? So when you have divided one question like how does a person see me into parts like that, why did they come into their life? Where they are both individually at this relationship at this point, where do they see this going, and the ultimate outcome. So what you have is you have a very well-rounded answer to give to them when you are reading their tarot. So making a spread helps you in seeing the situation from a holistic point of view and gives you a more in-depth answer with context and with a slight futuristic or a predictive approach to it, so that you know the situation from a whole perspective. So now let's quickly try and understand how can we make our own spreads. So some of the spreads, like if you were to simply Google tarot spreads, you would get a lot of spreads like past, present, future. You would get relationship spreads, but not necessarily. Sometimes all spreads would make sense in context to the question of your querent. Like sometimes, they could be questioning about a job that has just started or a person that they have just started seeing. Something could be in a very nascent stage, and sometimes the tarot spreads can get very in-depth. And it's not even needed because maybe, they will only grow out of this particular relationship, or maybe they would only grow out of this situation in 2-3 months. So it is always important that you make your own tarot spreads. This is what I practice even when somebody comes to me for a single question reading. So instead of just taking their question, what I like to do is I like to make spreads for them so that they have a very well-rounded picture of the whole question and what they can expect, in terms the answer has the context and it has everything taken care of within that answer. So now quickly, how do you start making your own spreads? First, it's very important that you should understand the goal and the question. And for this, one very important aspect is that when you're trying to understand the goal and the question, you should not do so like when you're making a tarot spread, to able to understand the question and then figure out the objectives from that question by your own self instead of relying on the querent. It's very important that you keep the judgment on the side and you keep any sort of your own personal attachment to the situation or viewpoint to the situation. You should be able to detach yourself, your views from the question. So the first thing is that you are supposed to first properly understand the question, and second, define your objectives. When people say that I'm just feeling very stuck in my life, so you want to make a spread in regards to that, okay, what is it that you're feeling currently? Where do you feel you want to be? What is the block between, from where you are to where you want to be? What is one advice that the cards might give you? Is there any external or outside influence that could be helping, impacting this entire situation? So when you look at a situation like that, it helps. But to be able to do that, it is important that from a simple question, why am I feeling so stuck right now? You're able to understand first the question properly and then figure out your objectives or able to fragment it. that okay, why do people usually feel stuck? Because they are at some place, they want to be at some place, and they have certain blocks. Sometimes there are outside influences. So we need to understand this whole situation, and then the reason people come to tarot for is of course advice. So at the end we need to pull a advice card. Second, having a template in your mind. Like any sort of spread that I make, the usual template in my mind is at first I want to know about the present, then first I want to know about the past if it's relevant, then I want to know about the present, and then I want to know about the future. In future, depending on the question, sometimes I take out the cards asking that the future they want to see, or the future that is already written for them, or like any sort of future that the cards want to show. Then I try to figure out the blocks, blessings, and finally any sort of advice that how should they be navigating in this situation. If the querent is very desperate, then I usually take out the card for timing also, so that it can ease them out a little bit. So this is my template, from past to present to future to blocks to blessings to advice to sort of timing. So it's better when you are thinking of starting of doing spreads in your questions, you always have a template. What is a good spread supposed to include? A good spread is supposed to be about 3 to 4 things predominantly. The first being understanding the current situation and circumstances. What is it? Where is it that they are right now? Then the second being what are the problems which are causing the circumstances. They can be sometimes personal blocks, sometimes they can be certain people influencing it. So you need to understand the problems that are affecting the current circumstances, and then you need to find a solution. Now to be able to do this, to find a solution, you might also want to sometimes look at the future, that okay, what does the future hold, or where is it that they do want to be, just to motivate them more when you get the solution. But then ultimately, after you have understood that okay, here you are currently, these are your blocks, then what you should be doing, what is the solution. So these 3 to 4 factors should be the predominant factors when you are trying to make a spread, so that you know the situation and then you know how to help them with the way forward. Last, what you can also do is, if you're just not able to comprehend how to make your own tarot spread, and frankly speaking, to be able to make a spread, it is important that the person genuinely understands the question and the objective of the querent. So if this is something you're new to, what you can also do is you can just build upon your existing tarot spreads. So there's the Celtic cross spread, which is the most popular one. Then there are certain of these simple spreads like past, present, future. Then sometimes there are these spreads of time. So whatever, you can Google a list of whatever spreads you feel are important, or something that is like a reoccurring question in most of your querent's life. Then you can build it up on that. Build up means that you can subtract minus something, you can change a particular question to something else, but you would already have a template laid out. So that's it for this video. I hope this video helped, and if you have any more questions about tarot card reading, then please drop them in the comments below. I would love to address those.